Right. 2 seconds. Right.
I'll just wait for a few. Yeah, right, we're live now. Just waiting for a few coming on.
Yeah.
Is there anyone there, guys? What's the matter with you all? Still not 12 on. A few on, yeah, give them a few more. Come on. Just start to warm up, guys. $12 on, come on. Get them the numbers up a bit. 25 on. Right, we're going to start, guys. I'm here today with Ricky. Ricky, can you give your credentials, what you're about, and your name and everything? And
yeah, I'm RickyKilleen. I've got me one here, Jim, and I'm sure I brought a book in. I've got me one book.
Yeah.
Behind the Bars, Ruthless Fitness. What I wrote whilst I was in prison. But I wrote the book on a recall because when I was I got sentenced to 99 years when I was 21-year-old, IPP, life imprisonment, where they got a recommendation of 4 years.
Right, right. So what we're going to do, we're going to stop in there and we're going to go back to Ricky when he was a kid, how it all started, how we got into trouble and things like that. So you can relate to this, but 99 years, guys. 99 years. Okay, now it's unbelievable. Right, Ricky, where were you from? Where were you born?
I was born up in Newcastle,
right?
Elsick.
I know Elsick, yeah.
Yeah, I lived there with my mum and dad. We lived there for about 5 years.
Right.
But at the time it was don't know if you remember those Elsick rides.
Yeah, I do remember the old cars were burnt out and everything. The police cars were at Cosworths and everything up there. Yeah. Jeez, I remember it.
But I lived there. That happened when I was about 5 years old, and my mum and dad had family over in Newcastle, over in Stanley, County Durham. But they decided to move us out of Elsick because it was, like I say, with the rides going on, to give us a bit of a better start in life.
Right.
So we went over to Stanley, County Durham.
Yeah. And
we moved into the roughest street in the fucking neighbourhood.
Right.
So we went from one rough end straight back into another one.
So what was it like? You going to school? Were you any good at school?
I was all right in school, wasn't there? But from the age of like 5, 6, I was always into trouble, getting into fights and just non-stop.
Where do you think that come from? That fighting? Was it fighting around the house and? Was it?
There was. I didn't see it like between my mum and dad, but growing up in the street where we lived, it was like a fucking every night. People were just out partying, drinking, and it was just fighting every day. But my mum and dad would be out in the street. My dad would be fighting with people. Yeah. Or my mother would be fighting with people.
Right.
And obviously.
So you think a lot of it's like what you see, you do what you see, because you see your parents do things. You see other people, like brothers, and do you have any brothers and sisters?
I got a brother and sister that lived with us. Obviously, I've got brothers and sisters to my dad's first marriage.
Yeah.
But I had a brother and sister. I was the youngest of the 3 of us. And my brother and sister weren't as bad as me. Like,
yeah. But, so you see, so when you're in that environment with kids fighting every day, you start to follow the money. You're maybe 5 or 6, and they're 9, 10, 11, 12. So you think, well, I want to be like him, but I want to be a hard case like that one. So you're a product of your own environment.
That's what it is, definitely.
Yeah. So can you remember the first time you got in trouble with the police then?
First time I got in trouble with the police, I was a 7-year-old.
Right.
And that was shoplifting up in Stanley, because obviously growing up we didn't really have much.
Yeah.
So we used to go up into the main streets and just shoplifting, just pinching different things, getting sweets and that, just daft things. Yeah. I remember we went in the shop and we were pinching bottles of aftershave.
Right.
And cassette tapes, remember the old cassette tapes?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Pinching all them in there. We just kept going in and out the shop. We had a box around the back of the shop. And went back in on the 5th occasion. And the security guard grabbed us on the way out.
Right. What did you
sent us phoned the coppers.
Right.
Ended up getting locked up, took us to the police station. And they phoned my dad come and picked us up.
Right.
Took us back to my nana's. My nana fucking booted us up the arse on the way through the door.
Old school, you got a slap round the ear, didn't it? Was in the hand, didn't it? So when was the first time you were serious arrested? Any serious arrest, would you say?
Yeah, well, I got arrested a couple more times when I was 10-year-old.
Right.
I got arrested again, and on that occasion it was because the headmaster of the school was like 6'4", fucking massive, big rugby player.
Yeah.
But whenever he got into trouble in school fighting, he would he would give you a fucking good wallop, and after just fucking give you a slap out and
you
smack you off the door. And all.
You get your ear took off, your head took off, wouldn't you?
But,
You get the cane when I was at school and things like that. And they hit you over, they give that another thing with the chalkboard. They whack you with that. The kids now, they've done the bone.
We used to drag. It doesn't matter who was that fighting. I remember this one lad. Wasn't all there. And the headmaster just had him by his head, dragging him through the corridors, banging him off every fucking classroom.
We had a kid like that, a lad called Leslie Bradshaw, and there was a bit of Cockerill in the class, and the teacher went and got the headmaster, and he was called Mr. Sadler. He was a bastard, he was ex-Borstal, he was in the Borstal. And he dragged him down, man, booted him all over. He done that now, you go to jail. You know, the kids now, my sister's a social worker, 35, yeah, she said, they actually thought, my mum's bullying me over, and they're full of social services now. It's just, there's no deterrent now, is there? Kids have lost respect.
No,
when you were a kid, you have to do as you're told. You wouldn't be able to open your mouth, be seen and not heard and things like that. Now it's just like the kids seem to control the mum and dads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this one day, he launched us off the door, and I had a big bruise down my back. And I remember I was in the house. I was getting change, and my dad had seen the bruise on my back and all that. Fucking went off it. But that was like when I thought I started rebelling against the teacher for doing it, by the headmaster. So me and my pal went down to the school at the weekend when I was 10-year-old.
10-year-old.
And my fucking was smashed every window in the school. And the school had to shut down for 2 weeks. We got kicked out of the school for good.
And the kids, you were heroes for the kids.
Coppers come and locked us up. Got interviewed and all that, but because of our age, they couldn't do nothing about it. 10-year-old.
Yeah, you've got to be 10 and over. I mean, to go to court them days. Yeah.
But that was like the first proper time.
Right. So what was the next? How did you escalate? We're going to go through the years, you know what I mean? But did you go out drinking out? Did you drink it out?
Well, once I got kicked out of that school, went into the senior school, the next school up.
Right.
Obviously 11-year-old. And then from the age of 11, we're just drinking. Started getting into the dope, smoking dope. Back then it was
slip.
That was a attack.
So attack. Black is going to call it.
So having buckets and lungs and all that.
Yeah.
And
how old are you then? Now,
11-year-old, 11, 12, and then just progress from there.
And was the kids the same age, or were they a bit older?
A lot of them were a lot older, because I was used to knock about with the older kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they say, go and do this, go and do that, and you'll do it. But you can't put that window through, and they have you doing all sorts of because you're in the gang, and you think, if I do this, Tommy's going to love me, and Johnny's going to love me, but they don't, they just use you, really.
Well, I remember on the break time in school, when I was 11, 12-year-old, and the older lads, 15, 16, couldn't roll a spliff, so I'm 11-year-old rolling the spliff for everyone getting stoned in school and that.
Did your mum and dad suss you out being on the drinking, on the drugs?
They didn't really.
No.
They probably, looking back, like they must have known, you know what I mean, coming in red-eyed and all that, but it progressed from there, and then it just carried on drinking every weekend, but then it started happening, it was every night, drinking every night after school.
Right. And
then at the age of 15, experiment with other drugs and taking E's and try bits of fucking whiz, amphetamines and all.
Yeah. Were you still all right then when you were taking that? Were you still, or did you have any paranoia ever come in, or were you okay? So, because when you're first on it, it's not so bad as it, but when you get when you start taking them more and more, it's like giving you psychosis. I had it on the crack, I was taking it and we're going, what's happening? We'll be there looking through windows and everything, there's no one there, so cuckoo your head, because you think something, because obviously it's a mind altering drug, so it alters where your mind rests, doesn't it? And it starts draining all the good endorphins and stuff like that, and you don't eat and you don't sleep properly, and you think having horrible thoughts don't you, in your head. So
I think it's when you get a bit older, because it wasn't until from the age of 11 up until I was 20 till I got sent to jail.
Yeah.
Just on the drugs and the drink, like just recreationally on a weekends, E's and stuff like that.
So when was the first prison sentence you got then?
It was when I was 20-year-old when I got locked up. Yeah, but I turned 21 in prison, Castleton Young Offenders.
Yeah.
Went there, and that was my first time in, 20-year-old.
Was there more violence in the offending jail with the younger lads than there was in the prison?
There was not as serious, but there was more fighting because it was happening every day. Every day there'd be fights.
With them being young, full of testosterone, I'll fight you, I'm not scared. And they know for a fact this fight's not going to last 2 minutes. The screws are going to come in and break it up. It's gone down there. And this picture's gone a bit dark.
But But I,
yeah, go on. I don't know what's happened there.
Up into,
it's gone off. It's gone off. Yeah. There's no pick, no back. That thing's not in the plug.
What?
It's not plugged in, I don't think.
It is plugged in.
It's gone off.
What's going on? It's still on.
Oh, well, it's just gone off there. The back, yeah.
screen was blocked in it.
Yeah, tell you guys about that. Because we thought we'd lost the. About the Martians must have been. Yeah. So where we at?
But I in Cossington,
Cossington.
obviously when you get in there, when you're first time in that as well, everyone's trying to wear you up, see what you're about and all that.
Right,
so you've got to fucking step up.
Were you a big lad this time?
Where I was 6'4" and I was 15 and a half stone when I went in.
So that's a big lad in there.
Yeah.
And when you've been big, it sounds crazy, but they want to pick on the biggest stone because they think if I have a fight with him, I'll look good. And people just do it with me. They think, oh, I fought Brian Cockerill. No, you didn't. In fact, you got annihilated. But they say I had a fight with Brian Cockerill. No, you got annihilated. And I imagine the same with you, mate. So
it works both ways. Sometimes you get it. People didn't want to mess with you because you're big, but then sometimes you see these fucking idiots that are wanting to go.
Yeah.
But it happened today. I'd only been in it fucking a couple of weeks. Well, not even that. A few days.
Yeah.
First time. Yeah. Some little fucking idiot trying to fuck on.
It's always the ones who can't fight, trying to fight. A little big man syndrome, I call it. I'll fight you. Never had a fight in my life, and they're full of drugs and so. But
then when I turned around, put it on him, says, "How you fucking idiot getting the shows?"
Yeah.
Fucking knock you, but he just didn't want to know what to do with it.
Yeah. So what happened then? You probably gone from there to the big jail.
I went from there into Durham.
Yeah.
But obviously,
what year was this then, Ricky?
This was 2006.
2006, yeah.
Yeah, I went from there down into Durham. I'd been in Cossington about 2 months and fucking when I went down to Durham court. The one I sent us back to Cossington.
What were you in for when you were in for the first time?
The first time, this was the only time when I first time in.
Yeah.
I was on bail for a Section 18.
Right.
Been at a house party, been having a session and all that. And fucking one of the lads in the house had a bit of an altercation with him.
Yeah.
And as I was leaving the house, he was like, but a fucking arsehole you.
Yeah.
So I just turned around, fucking bang, and just knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then I fucking.
Very sure something.
But then I've just dived on top of him with a fucking bottle and just smashed him into pieces with a bottle.
Right. Was that with being on drugs as well, maybe?
I just drinking, being on the sniff and being on the drink and just.
You probably wouldn't have done it if you were on the sniff and drink it. Since you like it holds your mind and paranoia. Yeah, you do. It's something that you do. Like now, you would do that right now. You think, oh, it's not worth it. You walk away. But when you're on the drugs and you drink, the paranoia is that bad. You think, and then you think, and I've got to have respect to you. And when you're young, you have all that rubbish in your head, don't you? You disrespect me in front of people, and then you go to town on and go, oh, you're not going to disrespect him no more. But then what happened to your jail sentence? How did you go to court and get the jail sentence?
For that one there, I went and handed myself in. Yeah, because obviously from being a young kid, I've always wanted it. I always wanted to go to jail,
Is that because Dad had been to jail?
My dad had been to prison and spent 14 years in before I was born, and I always used to listen to the stories about.
So it's the same thing again. You're a product of your own environment. Listen to your dad. I'd like to be in there. I'd copy off him and my dad. So yeah,
he was always telling us the stories about when he was fucking fighting with screws and he used to have the old metal trays and smashing screws up and everything. I was thinking it was clever. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, you know what I mean?
Right.
Thinking it was all big and clever.
So what was it like when you went in the big jail? Were you a bit scared going in the big jail? Were you a bit anticipating it was going to be weird?
No, I was in that mindset. I wasn't fucking off. I wanted to go and taste it. I was like, I was ready for it.
Like somebody trained to be a teacher or somebody trained to be a lawyer or something. So you trained to be, I'm going to prison.
Trained to be a prisoner.
Yeah, trained to be a prisoner. And you got that. You thought it was great.
Yeah. But what I got sentenced for, because 2 weeks before I was due to get sentenced for that offence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had another altercation with some other lad, and he fucking rang up thinking he battered my sister a couple of weeks previously.
Right.
And then he'd rang up this day, fucking mouthing on down the phone. And I just said, you know how you fucking talking to me, daft cunt? Yeah. He's still giving us a bit of chips, so I just fucking hung up. Phoned me mate, we flew up his house, put the fucking balaclavas on, ran in with machetes, booted his door clean off, and just fucking started chopping him up.
Right. And what was the extent of the injuries then?
Nearly chopped his arm off. His arm was hanging off. Fucking, and just had about 10 fucking wounds off the machete. We were just chopping them.
And with it being above the waist, it's classed as attempted murder or something.
Well, that's what they were trying to do, was with attempted murder. But obviously that got dropped with Section
18, which is a man you can get life for that, can't you? It's just the people don't realise Section 18 is one punch breaking somebody's jaw. That's a Section 18 wounded with intent. When they said I used to punch people, they said, well, you intended to break that jaw, and I used to get nicked. Anyone else just get done for assault, but it was Section 18 wounded with intent. So then it's a massive charge. They can catch you on it. So when you went to court, what was this barrister and that saying to you?
The barrister was actually saying to us that because there was no evidence, and I had a balaclava on at the time, there was no forensic evidence, and the only thing was my voice.
Right.
And it was like I went in the house saying, "Where is he?"
Yeah.
And that was what convicted us.
You.
So I went into court thinking that, oh, fucking, I've got to win the case. Got found guilty. 5 minutes later, got sentenced to fucking IPP, 99 years.
99 years. What was it like then? You must have been absolutely unbelievable.
I just fucking
feel like collapsing.
I turned around, looked at my family in the public gallery, and I tried to speak, and I just couldn't. No words could come out, so I just went like that, waved, and just put my head down, walked off, and I was like, fucking hell.
And how long? I know it must have been a long time, because I only got 3 years for driving offence, and I thought I was badly put on though. No, so it took me 6 months to get my head around, even 3 years. So how long did it take you to get your head around that? And I never.
Again, because I was in that mindset and I was still like young, I just fucking.
I think it was good because you
didn't give a fuck. I just thought.
It was America, you got 300 years, 600 years.
Obviously, I didn't want that long in jail. I just wanted, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
That saying, be careful what you wish for, fucking hell.
Yeah, so what happened? Did you do any education in there? Did you start
buckling down,
or were you getting into fights and things like that?
I was still in there. When I was in Durham, got into a few bits of more scraps in there, but mainly, yeah, fucking see, they had the nonces mixed in Durham.
Yeah, A-Wing, was it A-Wing, I think they're on.
They had them all, all over the jail.
Oh, did they? When I was in, I got put on 43s. I caused the riot in 1991. They all sat down in the yard, so all the lads, and they all went on there. There used to be a gym on the yard years ago, and they went on the gym roof and they smashed the gym up, and they all got 2 years each. It was called mutiny, the charge they got done for. They all sat in the yard, 176 lads sat in the yard because I got put on the block. And Douglas Hurd, the Home Secretary, come in a helicopter, and anyway, it was in all the papers and everything. But yeah, in them days, you went in, you had to piss in a bucket, and you had to do number 2s in the bucket by wells to hold it in, and you'd be sat like this on the toilet, and people be walking by, and throwing them up. All right, Brad, no one by embarrassed out, can I have a number 2 on the toilet? All right, big fella, because the door's only be halfway there, so you'd be. All right, morning, Brian, about 100 prisoners walking by. All right, big fella, you all right, what are you doing? What do you think I'm fucking doing? It was terrible, you know, I felt embarrassed, but yeah, you have to slop you. Obviously, the disease and everything on the wing, but it was terrible in them days in the 80s. You couldn't even lay on your bed. If you lay in your bed, you used to get nicked. It was terrible. They were all old ex-armies, these armies. All ex-armies, bastards, they were walking with them up-nailed boots, you know, with the studs in, and you couldn't go to sleep, you need bang, and deliberately do the doors 4 in the morning, and you bastard, you know, I want to beat the least noise wakes me up, so it used to annoy me. So, getting back to you, so what was it like then?
When I used, getting back to that bit, when I used to find out who the nonces were on the wing, because it always used to come out in the paper, fucking was it the Evening Chronicle?
Yeah.
Used to get that, and I just used to fucking terrorise the nonces, fucking, so the only bits of scraps I was getting in was doing fucking nonces in. Yeah. So what the schools do is just tear a blind eye. I never seen that. Yeah. But yeah, I'd been there.
Wait, did you must have got these solace through the gym, did you? Did you get the
gym? I did.
Yeah.
Like, one of my pals who I've known since I was a kid, he was another one that I used to look up to who had been in prison and that before.
Yeah.
He's seen the way I was going down and that. And they, before I went and handed myself in, got locked up, he said to us, bit of advice, he says, every opportunity you get to the fucking gym.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took that advice, and it was the fucking best thing I've ever done, to be honest, going to that gym.
Did you do any courses in there for the gym? Or did you do any? I did a British Amateur Weightlifting Association.
Oh, I've done that on the bowler course.
Yeah, the bowler, yeah. About 6 weeks course, in it. You have to name every ball and every. It's not as easy as you think, is it? And then I got 99 out of 100 for my first aid. I only got one wrong. One question wrong, but you have to get 60%. I got the first aid as well. But while I'm in here, I might as well do it. And you get people wasting time. You're not wasting time because you educate yourself, aren't you? And it helps you. And when I went to the other jail, I was the only one with the first aid and with a bowl of leaders and the NVQ to train people. So I got a job at the gym outside. So when I was in Leeds, it was called Wakefield, open jail, they used to let us go out and go. I used to have to. You had to get DBS checked and all that stuff, and they checked all that, and everything was perfect. I used to go to the training, and the lads used to give us money in there to go for something to eat, and we used to get down there. I just got this computer doing it again. So yeah. So what was it like for you, B? What was the hardest thing for you? Did you have any kids?
I didn't have any kids at the time, no.
Did you miss your family, obviously?
I just missed my family, but after I'd been in Durham for another couple of months, I got transferred over to Frankland, maximum security prison.
Yeah. Was that a lot harder?
It was actually the best jail of all of them,
because the lads were all
even though they're all in for fucking mad things, hitmen, fucking gangsters, people from all over the world.
They just want to do the jail dome and get on with it, and all right, mate, and everyone. You get on because you get on with each other because you're all into the same type of thing, aren't you? So
it's like what you would call like proper people, you know what I mean? Like fucking people watching it, or people that haven't been to jail, or they'll be thinking proper people. What do you mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're in that environment.
What we used to have in them days, Ricky, was them and us. So the schools would be on one side and the schools would be the other. But now there's no such thing as that. Now it's all like spice, everything. They're on all sorts of shit. I went back in 2009. I went back. And I found the lad from Billingham, and I went in. It was like being in a hotel. You had a telly, remote control. I was getting milk every day. I was getting shirts on the thing, clothes. It was like being in hotels. Pool table tennis, football. It was like most of them love it in there because especially the lads from other countries when they come in to get nicked, for being immigration. They love being there because they're getting 3 meals a day. Yeah, exactly. Never had so good. So what was it like? And did you meet any big names in there?
Oh, there was loads up in there. Frankland, fucking people from all over the country. There was a couple of lads from down there, Middlesbrough, fucking. You know Davy Fields? He was up there.
I know Davy very well. Actually, he was actually out with me the night after he shot the lad from Cockerill, Belmington way.
Blew some of the kids he'd off with a shotgun or something, didn't he?
He shot a lad. He shot a bloke. He shot a bloke in the street, but he was looking for 2 other lads from Middlesbrough. But they got protection. They got put in the Dragon Order Hotel. So he was with us near Christmas. It was. I've seen him a couple of months ago. He's a Christian now. He's got his life.
He's doing all right.
Yeah, he's ripped to the bone. He's looking really good. And he's got away from all that nonsense now, same as you.
Well, I seen Davey actually nearly got fucking killed in Frankland.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking nasty what happened. A couple of lads jumped him. He got rugby tackle, slammed upside down, slamming him on his head.
Yeah.
And he was fucking out. I didn't actually see it. I was wrong the other side.
Yeah.
And a couple of the lads went and jumped in and they were stamping all over his head. They nearly killed him, to be honest. Like, fucking, it was uproar on the wing after that. Like,
yeah, they used to have the metal trays, the chains, and down to the plastic ones, though. So,
but up in Frankland, like fucking, it didn't go off that often. But when it did, it was like fucking proper.
Yeah.
The second day I was there, seeing this terrorist. He was called Barrett. Derek Barrett. He was doing a 40-year life sentence.
Right.
He was the head of Al Qaeda in the UK.
Right. Where was he based at?
I think he was down the country somewhere.
Yeah.
Some lad come in the kitchen, picked a pan of hot oil up because you can cook your own food up there.
Yeah.
I've been in the kitchen. One of my pals was cooking as a steak, and there's a pan of hot oil just bubbling away. And some lad just come in, just picked it up, just poured it over the top of his head.
Right.
And I seen all his skin and his hair just peeling off the back.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you know, out the kitchen, all that.
Because he used to, when I was in a few times, people got sugar and water, don't they? Red hot water, they put the sugar in because the sugar then melts and sticks to your face, so it peels like napalm. They used to do it with petrol years ago in Vietnam. They'd drop it with the sugar in it, so it would stick to them. So it's a nasty thing, isn't it?
Well, you could actually buy the oil on the canteen.
Right.
But after that, they stopped selling it, but the lads down the kitchen, mainly the kids that were on the drugs, people used to pay them to smuggle fucking bags of oil out. Give them a line of subby to bring a fucking bag of oil back.
But when I was in Haverick, it was like billets, army billets, like the RAF. They had billets, and there'd be 8 of you in, and maybe 16 in the billets. Well, there'd be 8 on one side, 8 on the other. The doors would be open, but the main big doors at each end would be locked. It was great in there. We used to put the eggs in the kettle. We'd have running up and down the passages with piss ups and doing all sorts. Everyone helped each other, and it was great. But some jails you just get them and they're like. They were sort of in there. It was a bad jail to Haverick because it was only a cat-based jail, but it was the middle of nowhere, right up the Cumbria. The seagulls were like that, huge. I thought if I could get 6 of them on a bit of rope, I could fly home. They're huge. That celebrate. And I remember being in there, and there was only one from the northeast. Anyway, so I went on the bag like I did with McIntyre. So I went on the bag, and they went, "He said, if you get you, take your head off." And obviously they used to call me Big Vernon there. Remember all the biz?
Oh,
I
really?
think then, and on a Tuesday, nobody'd have no food. Nobody'd have. They used to get paid on a Tuesday, so I'd buy me stuff at the Canton East. He used to go for the lad from Morecambe Bay, and he used to go and get me food for us and bring it back. And we used to on Friday, Saturday, nobody had no money, so we'd give like a Mars bar for $2 back. We'd have him all. It was like no grouty or porridge. Remember him? It was like you in there, and we used to have doing that. But it was what it is with jail. You just got to get on with it. If you've committed the crime, you've got to do the time. You can't say, "Oh, them schools are horrible," or this and that. No, they never put you in there. They're just doing the job, aren't they? They're not being horrible. They're just doing the job. And without you committing the crime, you wouldn't be in there. So, what was it like for your family? What they must be more affected than you, obviously, because you're in there every day talking, messing about, running about, doing jobs and stuff.
Obviously,
they sat at home on their own.
I think the ones that were affected most was like my ma, and my brother and sister, the ones that I was close with.
Yeah.
Well, my dad was actually in Franklin because he got a life sentence when I was 18-year-old.
Right.
For murder, and that was what actually sent me fucking worse and sent me down the wrong path, you know.
Yeah.
I was already heading that way anyway, but
yeah,
when my dad got lifed off, it just fucked me head up and made me worse, you know.
Were you ever in the same jail as him then?
I was in Franklin on the same wing with him.
Oh, unbelievable. Like father likes them.
Fucking mad.
So have you got any kids now?
I've got 4 kids now,
yeah.
Well, off my life sentence, I'd done 5 years.
Right.
I went from Franklin. I've done a drug and alcohol course in there.
Yeah, because you've got what they do with them. Just to stop you, sorry to stop you. I remember being in with a couple of lads who got IPP. They were raging. I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "I'd rather have 20 years. I'd rather have 15 years." I said, "Why?" Because they could keep me in forever. And what they do is they put you in jails if you kick off, where you have to do courses. This is for people. You would tell them this. You have to do a course done in certain jails. So many courses. So they'll send you to a jail where that course isn't done.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But the IPPs, I'll just talk about that for the people that obviously a lot of people are not understanding.
Yeah.
But they brought them out in 2006 or 2005. I got mine in 2006, and they brought them out for nonsense.
Right.
Because obviously
that was the main thing they brought them out for.
They brought them out for them because they're the psychologists tell us in Franklin, you see, is when they were interviewing nonsense for fucking courses and that, they were blatantly saying they were going to get back out and do it again.
Right.
So when they were doing a fixed sentence, they had to let them out. So they brought this IPP out. So if they'll not let them out if they're not changed.
So what they'd be doing
so then what they're actually done, they ended up dishing them out to fucking violent offenders as well. Because they kept them sentences for the most serious and violent offenders.
Yeah. And
fucking ended up giving them more to the likes of me than what they did for the fucking nonsense.
Yeah, because the nonsense, once it's in them, they just can't stop.
Oh, exactly.
They're like a robot, and as soon as they see a kid or something like that. I remember one not long ago, but the one who killed Jamie Bulgin, they were up here in Ingleby Valley. They were actually living up here, one of them. Lived up here, and he was in a house round here, and all the people got him out. He was up here, and he was found again for more pornography shit on his computer and got jailed again. It's like they just can't stop. It's when they do it. In America, what they do with them, they castrate them. If you want to get out, you get 20 years jail or you get castrated. And I think it's a good thing. So
they should do it.
Yeah, fuck all this, like taking chances. Yeah, so.
But them IPPs, they brought them out, and the system couldn't cope with it. It just blocked the system up. They only meant to give 1,000 out. They ended up giving 7,000 out.
So what does that mean, it blocked the system? Because there was that many people in jail.
There was that many people in jail, and everybody's got to do courses to get rehabilitated and change themselves. But the IPP lads, and lasses as well, you've got to do these courses or you won't get out of prison because they say that you're not fucking changed unless you do the courses. So there's that many people blocked waiting to do these courses.
Yeah.
It just fucked the system up, and there's
remember,
lads in there now, 16 years later, and they're still sitting there.
Yeah, I remember a lad said to me, I've been waiting 15 years for the course. They keep sending me different jails where, because I've kicked off and fought and I've been caught with drugs, they keep sending you another jail. I said, well, why don't you do that jail? He said, because all the jails go and give the courses. There's only certain jails that do the courses. So they send you to a jail thinking, right, what are we clever with us? They'll just box you off to another jail, so you could be in that jail 10 years. Then they say, right, you've moved. Then they send you another jail. You could be in that jail 10 years. And there's no course in that one, so they can just keep you in forever, like you said. And that's what it is, a good thing for the nonsense.
For them,
yeah, it is a good thing. But that's why the prisons have had to build more prisons, isn't it? Because it's just ridiculous how many people are in jail, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
But in 2012, these IPPs were deemed unlawful, so they fucking got abolished. They no longer hand them out.
Right.
But yet, all of us that were serving them instead of bringing us up and resentencing us, the fucking work kept on them.
Yeah.
So how can they say that this fucking sentence is unlawful, but yet still keep all of us on it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's lads in there. I met a lad who was back in this time, Indian lad from fucking down Bradford, lovely lad, singer. Yeah, he'd been in 15 years, I think now. But it come up, he got a 6-year tariff. He'd done 7 years before he went up for his parole here and never been in any bother. And they said, oh, fucking, they knocked him back because he hadn't done the course. So they sent him to another prison, got to the other prison. And they said, oh, you're not suitable for this course. You need to do another course at another prison.
Yeah, so
he comes up for his parole 8 years later, gets knocked back again. But his head's that fucking far up his arse. He says, I either fucking kill myself or turn to drugs. So he turned to the drugs, comes up for his next hearing, don't let him out because he's on drugs.
Right.
Another year later, 10 years, it's fucking crazy.
Really, he should have only done 6 years.
Right.
He's in there 8 years later, and because he's in there and his head's gone because he's got no parole, no chance of getting out. Fuck it, I'll either kill myself or go on drugs. So you're telling people to taking drugs and they're doing that.
And then obviously you're coming up for parole and they're saying you're on drugs so you can't get out. And I'm thinking, the poor fucker, how can you win? You know what I mean? So 15 years later, he's still sitting there. His son was a year old when he went in. His fucking son's 16 now.
Yeah, but it's a stupid thing they've done. When I was in, I was on the committee. The thing I said there, do you know when you're given? Do you know when you have a P test? Heroin's only in your system. I think there's 24 hours or something like that.
Right.
So it's in 24 hours. So people will take it on a say Saturday night. None there's no piss test on a Sunday because of the church, right? So they take a little bit of heroin instead of taking the cannabis. A lot of people take cannabis. It's not good to take, but not as bad as heroin because you're on it. So that if you take the cannabis, it's in your system for months. It sticks to your liver and your kidneys. So when you smoke that, you can detect it. So what they do, they start having a little bit of heroin, and then have another bit, and then they're hooked on it. So then they use the driving people on heroin. She went to meet the woman, the governor. And when I told her, you know what, you're right. I said 24 hours. So she's for they're having that on the Saturday. Thinking, well, I'll be all right Sunday, and I'll probably might get a piss test Monday. I'll be okay by Monday. I'll be out of the system. So then you think, you know, you're right, 100% Cockerill. That's unbelievable. That. So yeah, there's some of the things they do. I think you don't even think that. Yeah, you make it worse. That IPP, like you said, good for nonsense. But what they've done is putting violent criminals in. But the violent criminals aren't like the nonsense. Totally different makeup compared to fucking nonsense.
Well, the majority of like myself who fucking done it. I mean, a lot of them were younger, 17-year-old, and that who's getting these IPPs, young lads. Full of testosterone, full of drink, committing this offence, making daft mistakes and fucking hell, suffering for the rest of your life because of it, you know, just fucking...
He wasn't sin, cast the first stone. The thing is, when you're young, you do that thing, you get into these gangs, what I'm telling you, and Ricky will tell you this here, once you get with these gangs and you start carrying a knife, there's another thing. If you carry a knife, right, the chances you're going to get it took off you and stabbed to death, or you're going to use it in temper, like Ricky did in the party, full of drugs, full of drink, full of rage, full of testosterone, young lad, and you're going to get a massive sentence. Was it worth it, mate?
No, it wasn't worth it. Like you say, like you didn't realise at the time. You're not when you're a young lad and you're in that mentality. You're not thinking about what you're going to do, the damage you're going to cause. You know you're going to do it, but like you say, all it takes is that one knife. Yeah. Stab someone the wrong way, you fucking.
Well, I was in jail and I used to do speeches with the kids and talk about young lads and on the wings, and I'd look after them and things like that. And I was in there for 3 months, and the screws didn't want me to go. He said, "There's not been one fight or anything on this wing since you've been in." And the day I left, 2 screws got stabbed and 2 lads got beat up in the showers. And I seen them on the screws from Tesco's. He lives up here. He went, "Well, you should have stayed. You should have got 10 years. You would stayed in the jail, kept it right." But then when I was in jail, the crime rate that was here was 12%. When I went to jail, I went to 77. So that went up. So when I got out, I went back down. So it's mad, isn't it? So they still need, even we are criminals or whatever you used to be, they still need us on the streets to do some of the jobs for them, you know. But I don't have any regrets of getting caught. The police get you jail. You just got to do it. I mean, you've been caught. You've got to get on with it. But I think it's wrong. Like you say, you put these. You make one mistake and you go to jail. And when you go into jail, you get something like a white collar crime. Like I went in for driving offences. I was in 6 murderers over the 3 years on remand with murderers and that. And then you go in there, normal person. Like that wasn't obviously, it was criminal. Obviously, what I was doing. But you go in as a normal kid, getting in trouble for something stupid, like pitching a car, and then you pad it up with someone. what you want to do when you're in bed, what you do when you're in bed, you do this. So you go then you come out like a professional, like, you know, like, I'm a top plumber, I'm a top doctor. Yeah, I've been to university. I'm just, now I can build a house. I don't know, I get my DNA, how not to do that. I know belly up, and you learn, don't you? And they teach you how to be a career criminal. And that's why they're in no jail all their lives. But a local person works in a shop, or somebody works in the dustbin, or somebody works in Tesco's, make more money than somebody robbing, because you always get caught. You get away with it for so many years, and you get banged 6 years up your ass. And all that time you spend in jail. How long did you do in jail then?
I've done 5 years. Yeah,
5 years.
Altogether, I've done 6 years. Obviously, I've got recalled. But I've done 5 years. I've done 4 years. I was eligible for parole.
So good job that came out then. That
I
think you could have been still in, wouldn't you?
But I always
with that PP Act, what's called.
when it got abolished,
if it never got abolished, you could have still been in, couldn't you?
Well, everyone's still got it. Who got the IPPs?
Yeah.
Like I'm still on license for the rest of my life.
Oh, is it still licensed? Right.
Still like in 99 years. So I've done 5 years, got out. I was out for nearly 10 years.
Right.
I got recalled for a car offence. So I was buying and selling cars, and I bought a stolen car.
Right.
I crashed the car.
Right.
And I ran off and left it.
Right.
I thought I'd get away. The airbag and everything went off, and 6 months later, I was in my recovery truck and I pick a car up, and I got boxed in by fucking 10 busy cars.
Right.
I was just seeing one at first, went past and then came after us, and I was thinking, what's going on here? Didn't flash the lights. Next thing now, there's 10 fucking copper cars behind us, all boxes in. Well, that was because of me past, me violent fucking, they need to get back up.
Yeah, it stays with you, doesn't it?
So,
you're down on that thing as dangerous, and you same as I am, and they won't come at ARV and response vehicles. Well, every time you've been doing a firearm with that, it's always on your record. It comes up to the police when they push that button in the police car, So
for someone like that, you would have just getting bailed and then have to go to court and all that. But with me, because I'm IPP, 10 years, put us in the back of the police car. They wouldn't tell us what it was at first. I got in the back. They said, just sit in the back of the police car, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
Said, you wanted for recall to prison.
And how long did you have to do?
I could have still been in now. It's that 99 years, what that 99 year actually means is if I don't behave myself when I'm in jail, I'll never get out.
Right.
And that's why there's lads are still in there now.
Right.
So obviously when I went back in on a recall, I've just kept my head down. Fucking this time.
What just say this.
Yeah.
You've done the jail, you got out, you're out 10 years. It must have been harder going back in after you used to be out for 10 years. It must have been devastated this time. This has got to be the worst.
This was the worst. I fucking hit rock bottom when I went into Durham, because obviously this time in them 10 years that I was out, married, 4 kids. I've got 4 kids under the age of 10, My youngest was only 2-year-old. And I never thought I was going back to prison. Like the first time, I knew I was going to jail. I was destined for it, you know what I mean? But this time, I built a life for myself.
Yeah.
Businessman, married, 4 kids, everything going well. Obviously, I'd done that with the car, but I thought I'd get away with it, But got recalled, and my fucking head was just up my arse.
Well, yeah.
So I'm back in Durham, and people saying like, "Oh, how long are you in for?" I'm IPP, I'm life. How long's a piece of string? But not long after I'd been in is when fucking COVID hit. So it was like 23-hour lockdown. So you're banging up 23 hours a day.
Nightmare.
Sometimes it went on to like 36 hours, because if you had social in the morning one day, they had to split it up through the day. So you weren't back out until tomorrow afternoon.
That must be a nightmare.
It was like 36 hours bang up. But when I went back in, I'd been back in. I've trained for the full 10 years I was out.
Yeah.
And then when I went back in, just bang into the gym again, doing the heavy weights, went back with the 19 stone. I just felt unfit. So I started doing circuits on the yard.
Lovely, I'm saying.
Got myself fucking extremely fit, but I was getting all the lads out with us.
Yeah.
Being a bit of a personal trainer for them all.
That's where it started.
That's where it started.
I think I can help people. I see now.
So lockdown happened, and all of my mates were just fucking deteriorating, just went right downhill.
Or the ones in jail.
The ones in jail, because obviously I had some of the lads I knew of previous sentences, and some of them I knew from back.
So you mean like hammering the drugs and yeah.
But they were just fucking, if they missed their social in the morning because they'd been up all night or couldn't sleep through mental health problems or whatever.
Devastation.
Like they weren't getting another association for fucking, so they're not coming out of the pad for like fucking 2 and 3 days at a time.
Just let you know, association, what that means. It means when you're in jail, you'll get like an hour on the yard sometimes, like to walk around, or you'll get association for 2 hours on the night usually. It used to be on with that thing on that bed thingy brain. Brain of Britain, I think it was called. The quiz used to come on, and when that come on, I thought I'd be out in half an hour. I think you were an hour and a half or something like that, and you got on the wing. You could use the phone, talk to your family, talk to the other inmates. Yeah. But when you're in bang up means you're in a 8 by 12 cell, 24 hours a day sometimes, aren't you? Yeah.
But some of the lads, I was going to the hatch, and they'd have the windows blocked up, so it was pitch black, so you had to peep through to see them. And you could just see the TV in the background, you just see the hand, and you fucking was looking through, talking to my mates, and I was like, the pads were fucking just stinking, and I hadn't been out for 3 and 4 days, and I'm like, oh, well, lads, get yourself out, man, fucking hell. I'm like, went to the total opposite, I'm looking fresh as fuck, fit as a fiddle, bouncing all over. So I'm getting all the lads out, and about 4 or 5 of us on the yard, and we're just getting extremely fit, and they're fucking all thanking us, saying, fucking hell, cheers for getting us out.
You think the Scrubs have seen that, Ricky, and thought, he's doing good, him. He's super fit, he's training, he's not on drugs, he's helping people, so you think that's helped you to get out?
Definitely got good reports now as well, you know what I mean? And obviously, if
you don't associate with prisons, I mean, I was in, I don't talk about mine, it's nothing to yours, but I was in, and when I was in Abbey, I would mean teddy bears and all sorts, just to say I'm associated and I'm doing things like the regime. I'd be doing guitar lessons and do all sorts, walking out, picking paper, boxing, training kids on, because there were bags and that in that jail. We used to train kids on the pads. We used to train 50 to 40 set there, circuit training, and I keep myself occupied. Now I got myself like outside the gym, but if you sat at a pad all day taking drugs, they just walk past, they're not interested, are they?
But that's when I just started jotting ideas down. I thought, you know what it is, I could write a book here. So I just started jotting ideas down.
Right.
Because see, well, there's been like, I've had about 4 or 5 businesses over the years, and that 10 years I was out successful businesses. And had my head screwed on. And obviously when I was in jail, because of the car offence, I was a motor trader. Right. So I knew straight away I'm losing my fucking licence and everything. I'm going to be fucked for selling cars. So I just thought, I started thinking myself, fucking, could make a business out of this, you know? Yeah. So I started writing all the ideas down for
what year was this, Ricky?
2020.
2020, right.
Yeah, and I've been back out 14 months now.
Right.
And I started writing ideas.
Are you going to go back in?
Oh, I'm a fuck.
And your father-in-law sat over there, me and him. No. We'll sort you right out, I'm telling you.
No.
No. Can you tell the people, for these idiots, obviously we were idiots going as well, can you tell them how bad it is in there? Now, especially now, mate.
It's not worth it. It's just, you think it's big and clever. You think you're going to get a name for going to jail. You don't need to go to jail to get a fucking name for yourself. No. To get a name by providing for your family and being a family man. That's what a real man is.
Of course, the work. A man selling drugs like I did, and being an idiot and getting caught, and it doesn't happen. You end up getting shot like me, stabbed like me, you getting killed. Most of my friends have been killed and all that crap. Get yourself college, get yourself in the gym, educate yourself, get your mind healthy body, healthy mind, and get yourself a job. And you can get up every day and go to work. Be a proper man. Go to work. A proper man's going to work every day, happy he's got a job, providing for his family, no police at the door. The kids aren't at risk. When you're selling drugs as well, I'm not saying you did, but when you're selling drugs like I did, you're risking your family, your petrol bombs come for your house, you're robbing people and things like that, so it's not worth it, mate.
But even some of the lads I met in there, man, like fucking when I was getting out, some of them had 5, 6, 7 years left, and like, the saying was this, one of them, I remember him saying, he goes, you know what it is? He says, this fucking life, he says, you think it's all big and clever out there? He says, I'd rather be out there working in fucking McDonald's 9 to 5 and going home to my family every night.
100%, mate, 100%.
But if you fucking work it out, if you're in McDonald's, it doesn't matter which job you're in. But if you work the money out like you're making every week,
more, don't you?
You're going to, over 10 years, you're going to make more money.
Of course you are, yeah. Because you're in jail. You're 6 years, you're in jail for maybe half of that.
Well, you see some of
you're in, you're out. And like you said before, if you go out, you could have an IQ, you could have an IQ like Einstein. Yeah. But if you were in there and there's 50 people, none of them have been in trouble, and you have, and your IQ's through the roof, the person who's the thickest best will still get the job because they're trusted more because they haven't got a record. And it stays on your record. Everything you've done stays on your record. There's none of this crap where it gets quashed after 10 years, 20 years. Everything you do from a kid is kept on you.
But some of the lads in there, like, they'll see you when they're out here, they'll say, fuck that, I'm not working this, that and the other. We get the sitting in jail, scrubbing the fucking land and scrubbing the toilets for $5 a week.
Yeah.
So where's the logic of knocking what I mean? If you can sit in jail and fucking do that.
Yeah, it's right,
you
isn't
can fucking sit out here and can't work, you know what I mean?
And the biggest people go, I've got to go to work tomorrow. I'd be happy, you'd be glad you've got a job, you know. You might be getting 3, 4 pounds. It's still good money. It's better than having one on the door, and you've at least you work and you're getting up and provide for your family. Stealing, robbing, selling drugs, all that stuff, it always comes to a bad end. Then if you take the drugs, you end up being on the drugs, don't you, if you sell them, and